So I run that filter through my relationships. I run that filter through how I conduct business. I run that filter through different companies I work with. Literally everything I do goes through that checklist. And if there's anything where I'm like, well, I have my answer, I already know,
Yeah.
and I don't do it. Man, well, ownership was the biggest one that's I kind of shared with you and alluded to. Another one, man, I really run through is really going through core values, because I think it's real easy to get lost as we're doing
Yep.
stuff. And the way I see it is being an entrepreneur, like you're almost like a sailor or a pirate, man. You go out in the sea and like you're looking for the booty to say as you're doing this. But man, you got waves coming at you, you got whales coming at you, you got all this stuff that you can't predict, you can't control. But if you have your compass, at least you know, like, cool, here's the direction I'm going. And that's really where core values come in. So I think the best way I can answer that is just to share those core values with you. So number one's result. I'm super focused on the result, man. And whether it's in my fitness, whether it's in my relationships, whether that's in my business and what I do, whether it's the personal work that I do, I'm always focused on and getting really clear, like, what is the result that I want, and being very intentional about what I'm doing and who I'm surrounding myself with to make that result happen. It's the same thing we do with our clients. Like, they don't come to me because they want a website, they come to me because they want customers. So everything's based on that, and how we get there is how we map that stuff out. Number two would be simplicity. I think it's our mentor Ryan says it best. He's like, smart people tend to overcomplicate shit because it's easy to overthink things, especially more intelligent you are. It's like, it can't be that simple, like, because I should have figured that out already. The ego comes up, right?
Yeah, people have told me this before. That's not
new. It's like, no, there's no way it's this simple versus the answer is yes, it actually is that simple. It's doing the work that's the challenge. It's not the idea. So every time I'm looking at something, I go, is this simple? If it's a no, I don't do it.
Yep.
Because complex solutions attract complex problems versus simple solutions attract simple problems, and I'll take simple problems all day, right? Next one's going to be integrity, man. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And one thing I've learned, Arne, is we don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. I think everybody, like the law of attraction, and I'm going to just put it out there, and I'm going to pull my dream girl in, I'm going to pull in my dream clients and business partners. But if you're not doing the work to become, you could say it all day, you're going to keep attracting those same types of people until you learn the lesson and you level the fuck up.
Yep.
So focusing on integrity and going, cool, is what I'm doing in absolute integrity, whether that helps me.
Zoom out and go, all right, am I on track with these values? No. Oh, that's why it's not working.
So I run that filter through my relationships. I run that filter through how I conduct business. I run that filter through different companies I work with. Literally everything I do goes through that checklist. And if there's anything where I'm like, well, I have my answer, I already know, and I don't do it.
That's so good and so important. And I'm gonna guess you read Thomas's book as well.
Yeah.
Yes, me too. That's a great book. I got to drop that link for you guys down in the comments. And shout out to Thomas. I'm gonna get him tagged.
Yep, it's a great book, and you're not going to figure out your core values instantly. And if you do, they're probably not the right ones. At least that's been my experience. So I've kind of evolved. So I started off with 4, and then as I've gone through and I've grown, I've kind of shifted different ones throughout there, so like ownership's is the last core value that we have. So like, in terms of how I run myself, I take extreme ownership in everything. In terms of our team members, I convey those values, and I look to attract people that own what they do. Same with our clients. I'm looking for clients that are willing to own their result, because I know they're going to be successful with that mindset, right? So and once again, I didn't have that instantly. I read Thomas's book, and then as I'm going through, so I'm like, who am I really looking for? Okay, cool. Like, we're looking for that. Cool. So obviously I need to make sure I am that. So whenever I get a flickering where I'm like, I don't really want to do that, or this problem came up, I'm like, I got to own it. regardless. So it really helps you get that freedom back and go, cool, now I'm empowered to solve the problem because I'm owning it.
Yeah, that's so important. And a tip for all you guys out there, when you get some of your values together, you know, you go through this book or another process, start creating content around them. Like if you're like, hey, what should I post about? Be like, oh, well, what's a good story of, you know, how one of these values showed up in my life, or even how I broke one of these values and realized that's why something wasn't working. Yep. Any of that, like talk about that and you'll be good to go. Cool. So one other thing we like to do on this show as we get towards wrapping up is giving people some or getting clients. Some kind of marketing hack, some kind of sales hack that's like that one little unique thing you might do differently than other people. Do you have anything coming to mind for that?
So you went out for just a second. So I heard like the back half. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, so we like to find some kind of a unique marketing or sales hack that that you use, that maybe you share with your clients that has just worked wonders for you. We always like to send people off with you know, one little nugget there. So anything coming to mind?
Cool. So if you're a coach or a consultant, right, and your whole thing is like, hey, I'm the expert at this thing and I help these specific types of people, I'm going to give you the best piece of advice I've ever heard from someone named Frank Kern. I'm sure some of you may have heard of him. Is, you know, the way you position yourself is you actually go help people by actually helping them first, and this crazy thing happens where you make money. It's a weird one. I know it's a really crazy out there concept, but you know, may dreamers keep dreaming. And you know, when I first heard that concept, I was like, once again, that's too simple. So what I would recommend for you, if your goal is to get people to move to the point where they're willing to have that conversation with you, is go, how can I help them first and get them a win? Whether that's creating a video training, whether that's whatever form of content you're using. I'm a big fan of video because they build know, like, trust like freaking crazy, because they get to hear you, they get to see you, and really focus on how can I get them a quick win in whatever that is, right? So obviously I focus in fitness. So I'm helping coaches go, cool, how do you help your ideal client alleviate their back pain? How do you help them lose that first 5 to 10 pounds and give them short actionable steps so they can take and go win with? And what happens when you do this is it kicks in this thing called the law of reciprocity. And if you're not sure what that is, I want you to think about sometime whenever you had to move and you had one friend with a truck who actually showed up and helped you move. Mm-hmm. When that person showed up, how grateful were you?
Yep.
Probably pretty grateful. Did you feel inclined to want to give back to them? Probably so.
He got lunch, he got dinner.
Man, where I grew up, man, you buy them a case of beer, man. That was like the code right there. If someone helps you move, you give them a case of beer and you have some brewskis when you're done. But the whole point is, when you're doing that with your content and what you're doing, you know, those people are going to feel inclined to want to get back to you, right? Now, some of that may be in the form of doing business with you. Some of that may be in the form of bringing more members to your group. Some of it may be just giving you referrals. But when you give, and then ask, it gives you a really great platform to then build the value into the next conversation. And now you get a real opportunity to demonstrate your expertise in solving their problem, which often leads to, once again, this crazy thing where you actually make money.
What do you know?